It is now my pleasure to turn today's program over to Tom Kelly. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Amanda. I appreciate that. I want to thank everybody for joining us here today as we're going to talk about driving profitable growth with better credit management. And specifically, we'll be talking about the closer relationship that NetSuite shares with Dun & Bradstreet and how both of our applications work in concert with one another. So we'll go a little bit through a welcome and a brief overview of NetSuite. Then I'll turn it over to my friends at Dun & Bradstreet, and Steve Vitello will get into some details relative to how the application works. And then we're going to turn it over to GoNow, who is a customer that uses both products in conjunction with one another, give you some insights in terms of experiences and how it works and what they've been able to do with it. Then we'll talk about being able to attend a DNB demo, and then we'll follow up the end with some questions and answers. So your presenters today, first from GoNow, who is a client using both the Dun & Bradstreet application in conjunction with NetSuite, is Mike Denning. Mike is the CAO and VP and Controller and VP of Operations, as well as a co-founder of GoNow. Myself, Tom Kelly, I am in product marketing with responsibility for the financials, as well as verticals such as nonprofit, software, and general business. And finally, Steve Vitello, the senior solutions expert from Dun & Bradstreet, who will get into the functionality of the application, how it works, and give you insights in terms of what you can do with it. A little bit about us, NetSuite, #1 cloud ERP. We were really the first cloud company. We were starting to design things back in the late 90s for the internet. At the time of the acquisition by Oracle, which I'll talk about in a minute, we had over 5,500 employees around the world, and we serviced over 40,000 organizations and subsidiaries on a global basis. Had we not been acquired by Oracle, by the end of 2016, we would have announced we had achieved a $1 billion revenue run rate. We have offices in over 13 countries, so we've actually added some as a result of the acquisition. And the acquisition did close in November of last year, and Oracle paid $9.3 billion for NetSuite. And now as we exist within the Oracle family, we are a global business unit within the organization, within Oracle Corporate. So this is things that some of you who are familiar with NetSuite may have seen, but just to set the stage here, this is what we call a hairball, the software hairball. And really what you're seeing here in terms of the applications that you see, Great Plains for accounting, SalesLogix or Salesforce for Salesforce automation, etc. What companies would do in the past in the on-premise world is they would spend a lot of time and effort and resources making these disparate solutions talk to one another. And to put it in perspective, each time there were changes, upgrades, there was always problems, perhaps systems were down. So it created this hairball, kind of clogged up the system, if you will. And one might think, as we get into the world of the cloud, that things would have gotten better. But, as you can see from this graphic, one might argue that it's gotten worse. And I want to just put this in perspective in that what's experienced out there today is now we've got significantly more applications, some that fit a niche for individual organizations. But the issue of connecting these applications to one another still exists. So as one upgrades, the other one has to upgrade. You have to work on the connector. It can become quite a death spiral, if you will, because you could be spending the majority of your time getting your systems to work and not really running your business. So to put it in perspective, if we drill down a little bit deeper on this, if we have these disparate systems, on-premise or cloud-based, the data is usually fragmented. And it's fragmented in the sense that it's within certain applications, but also in terms of the connectivity and the comparability. There's data massaging that has to go on. You may even come up with a whole separate database to put all this information into so you can report off of it. What really ends up happening here, though, is if you don't even have that middle connector, and if you do, information's in silos. So people come into meetings, manufacturing has its set of data, finance has its, sales has theirs, and there's usually the argument across the team members as to whose information is right, as opposed to getting to what we need to be doing to solve business issues, to grow the business and to move forward. Another challenge you run into is there are multiple user interfaces. So as much as you may like to think that cloud applications from one to the other have very similar user interfaces and all, that's not the case. So learning curves can be pretty steep, or frankly, people may not know how to use certain applications very well at all. And as I talked before about the integration, we can end up with broken transactions and order flow. So there could be problems in terms of connectivity, information is not getting to where it needs to be. And again, a lot of time and resources are spent on chasing the data and trying to get it right. And really what you end up with, as I gave you the scenario sitting in the meeting with the team, you've got different versions of the truth. And everybody, rightly so, believes their information is right. So you can see this is pretty much an unfortunate dilemma that really exists today in business. And at one point, the cloud potentially had solved it, but it's actually probably caused more problems. So let's talk about NetSuite and what it does. So what you're talking about with NetSuite is it is a single platform. You can run your entire business on it, from the front office to the back office, from your e-commerce to your CRM. Everything's on a single platform. So that transaction that, let's say, occurs when sales puts in a sales order to eventually when you're billing that customer, it's on one platform. And you can follow that information from front to back, or at any point in time you want to get it, and you can report on it in a myriad of different ways. So one of the things that NetSuite does provide is kind of business intelligence out of the box, over 300 options to look at, in terms of metrics, in terms of charts, in terms of reports, you name it. And not only does it do this, but it does it at a role-based level. So some of the things I have worked with in the past is somebody who's in charge of accounts payable. With NetSuite, really their title is the CEO of accounts payable, and it's not tongue-in-cheek. They have everything they need based on accounts payable, both what they have responsibility over, directly, and things that may affect them indirectly, right? Certain credit deals that are going on that, maybe certain people approve them, but accounts payable needs to be made aware of them. The other thing I want to point out is, as long as you have a high-speed internet connection, you can access NetSuite anywhere on any device, 24/7, 365. So whether it's a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, a Chromebook, you name it, you have access to the information. And the other thing I'd point out is this information is real time. So if a salesperson makes a sale, you can get an alert or have the system alert you that a sale has transpired if you care about that at that level. Another thing we do at NetSuite is we do have core industries that we focus on. So I had mentioned I have experience and responsibility for the software vertical, and there's some names you may know there: Snapchat, Zendesk, Quicken. We also focus on industry of services, AMP, which is advertising, media and promotion, nonprofits, manufacturing, wholesale distribution, and retail. So the point I want to make here is our solution lends itself to other industries, and there's certain aspects and certain bundles how we would sell it to these different industries. The other point I'd want to make here relative to NetSuite is I've worked on customers that, and this is literally true, that uses technology to feed pigs in pig barns and uses technology for the Mayo Clinic. You might argue that those are very different businesses, but you'd be surprised at how you can operate two very, I would say, separate and distinct businesses on the NetSuite platform. So next we're going to get into Dun & Bradstreet, and before I turn it over to my friend Steve, I just want to get into some of the messages that are coming out of NetSuite, both in terms of at the highest level, Oracle Corporate, and within the Global Business Unit. So Mark Hurd, who's the Oracle CEO, mentioned at SuiteWorld that NetSuite products will go on forever, and their intent, or our intent, is to keep NetSuite and invest in it. And so, when I heard that, I say, okay, that's what you would expect to hear, but I'll give you a data point. This is a pretty impressive data point from my standpoint. We have, right now, job openings out there that are there are more numbers of job openings than NetSuite had employees in 2012. So I'd argue that, Oracle is walking the talk. We're making sure that we're building this business, and we've got a significant resource behind us here in terms of capital, people, et cetera. The other thing that I want to point out, and I don't want to be hypocritical here, but Jim McGeever, the Senior Vice President or Executive Vice President of the NetSuite General Business Unit, said that over 70% of our deals have included at least one partner product. And I showed you before that we have this hairball problem, right? There's a significant number of software that's available out there in this day and age. To put it clearly, what we do on the NetSuite side is if you're going to use one of these tools like Dun & Bradstreet, and here at NetSuite, we come up with upgrades to NetSuite 2 times a year. So what I was saying before is, oh my God, when the other side changes its product, there's a problem, we got to run around and make sure the connection works. That is seamless. What I mean by that is when we do upgrades, we work in concert with our partners, NetSuite approved partners that are integrated into our system, such that you as the user, if you go home on Friday and there's an upgrade on Sunday and you turn your computer on Monday, there's no problems. The connectivity works, it works as expected. You have not been required to lift one finger. That is part of the offering within NetSuite. So with that, I will turn it over to my friend Steve now. So Steve, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks. And I want to thank everybody for joining us as well. I'm also looking forward to having Mike from AgoNow share with you just how he's using NetSuite and DNB to help grow his business. But before we get to that, I just wanted to share a little about DNB and why we feel the partnership of our content and NetSuite's platform is so powerful. So first, I wanted to share a little bit about Dun & Bradstreet. At the core of what we do, we are a data company. We collect information on businesses from all over the world. We currently have data on over 270 million businesses from over 220 countries. We collect that information from over 30,000 different sources, and those sources update our database over 5 million times a day. It's the largest network of commercial data in the world, and we've actually been collecting data and providing that data to customers for over 175 years. So NetSuite was looking to partner with a data provider, and they chose us because of our depth and breadth of data that we do have. So these are some examples of those 30,000 sources that I mentioned. Over here we collect over 4 billion credit references a year under that trade experiences line. We're online with nearly every bank and courthouse that actually files data, and we also curate the largest collection of corporate family linkage data with over 4 million family trees. So the benefit to you is combining this strong third-party data from us with your own first-party data inside a platform like NetSuite to help make better decisions and to run your business more profitably. So currently, there are 2 ways NetSuite customers can leverage Dun & Bradstreet data within the NetSuite software. The first one is called DNB Data Management for NetSuite. This solution focuses on cleansing and enriching the NetSuite data with DNB data. So it really does 3 main things. It helps you identify and eliminate duplicate records. It fixes inaccurate records. And third, it enriches records that are incomplete. So the second offering, and this is the one that Mike is going to tell you about next, is DNBI Risk Management for NetSuite. This solution helps to create a credit policy. It helps you establish consistent credit rules and decisions, and it helps automate the whole credit process directly within NetSuite. So this solution, which was jointly created and then developed and built by NetSuite developers, was an important step because the marketplace was telling us that the focus of credit and finance was shifting over the last several years. So traditionally, finance and CFO functions have been focused on driving profitability, right? Now we see a new component added, which is a mandate around helping to drive growth as well. So as the results of this Accenture study show, 72% of the CFOs that were interviewed stated that not only do they have a strong focus on growth now in their role, more than half of them are part of the strategic planning around growth with the CEO. Now, that doesn't mean the profitability mandate goes away, right? It's hey, Mr. and Mrs. CFO, you have to be responsible for growth, but also profitable growth. And that's what we're trying to do here with this particular solution. So that profitability mandate doesn't go away. So the CFO finance department has a delicate balancing act of driving growth while maintaining that profitability. And that's no easy task, especially for companies that are startups and growing businesses. All these businesses are, and as I'm sure you know on the phone, are constantly faced with the challenge of doing more with less or doing more with what you have. The DNBI risk management solution within NetSuite is going to help by creating a strong, customizable, flexible credit process right from scratch. Companies that use our data and processes inside a platform like NetSuite generally can see results of a reduction in DSO of 5 days and a reduction in needed resources of 75% due to the automated approval process. So the ability to combine and automate our third-party data and processes are going to help you to provide your sales teams the answers that they need to grow the business, while finance better partners with them to drive growth and maintain profits. Now, let's hear from a customer that's taking advantage of this offering right now. I want to introduce to you Mike Denning. Mike is, again, as Tom had mentioned, the CIO, the co-founder, and the VP operations for a company called AgoNow. Mike, thanks again for taking time out of your busy schedule to share your story with us. I know anyone with 3 titles has got to be busy, but such is the life at today's startups. So, Mike, with that, I will turn the ball over to you.
Great. Thank you, Steve. I want to start off and introduce myself. My name is Mike Denning. I'm the CIO and VP of operations with AgoNow. AgoNow is a wholesale distribution company, and we only do B2B business. Just a little bit of background for me. I've got over 25 years of experience in B2B business. Prior to founding AgoNow, I actually worked as a VP for of IT for a Fortune 500 company, and in the same type of environment in a B2B company servicing the industrial market. And prior to that, I also worked as a consultant implementing different ERP systems, including the Infor SXE platforms, their WMS systems, and Great Plains. When we started up AgoNow, I partnered with a couple of individuals. First is Larry Davis. Larry Davis served as a chief commercial officer for a large industrial distributor. And prior to that, he actually served as president and Section 16 officer with another Fortune 500 B2B company. And Larry has a strong background, obviously, in the B2B space, as well as in consulting, implementations, and project management. And we also partnered with another individual named John Allenbeck, and John has served with, again, very large companies, Black & Decker, Danaher, Tool, and some others, and served in very senior roles, and has over 30 years plus experience in the industrial market. And so that's just a little bit of background on the people that I'm involved with. When we talk about AgoNow, I'll give you a little bit of background on who we are as a company. And so AgoNow is a B2B business, and we are a pure wholesale distribution business. So what that means to us is we only sell to other businesses, and we will not sell to end users. And so that comes into play very much in utilizing the DNBI tool. And we'll touch on that more here as we go along. Again, I helped found the company with the two individuals I introduced. We have about 16 people in the company. Between that group of individuals, we've got over an average experience of about 20 years. And most of those individuals have experience in both very large publicly traded companies as well as companies held in private equity and now experiencing a startup environment. And so a lot of great experience on our team, and we have a lot of in-depth experience in dealing with customers, processes, and systems. When we talk about Ago Now, our tagline is industrial strength partnership. And so for us in the B2B space, it's very critical that we have strong relationships with our manufacturer partners as well as our customers. And that whole supply chain is very dependent on one another to have exactly that, great partnership and great visibility and strategic alignment. And part of what we did as we were starting up with Ago Now is we really wanted to focus on technology to improve the entire supply chain process, create efficiencies within the supply chain, and make sure that, you know, we're able to drive profitability both for our new organization as well as our partners, both on the manufacturing and the distributor side. So as we started the company, and again, technology was such a key tenet of what we were trying to do as a company, we went through and did a lot of evaluation on different platforms. And as we started taking a look at different solutions, we really started evaluating the cloud offerings. And so again, I've obviously been in technology for a long time. My history has traditionally been with on-premise solutions. And as we took a look at what was available on the cloud, we really started to recognize that the type of functionality that we really needed in order to launch this business was available with these cloud solutions. And they were offered in an environment that allowed us to really effectively use our capital. The environment that we're in and the type of business that we're in is very capital intensive. And so having solutions such as NetSuite and the DNBI platform in the cloud allows us to really deploy our resources on other areas such as, you know, investment in inventory and those types of things. And so as we looked at how to start this business up, the technology evaluation was very critical to what we wanted to do. As we evaluated the DNBI platform, we really recognized that the capabilities that was going to offer us were going to greatly enhance the entire credit management piece of what we needed to do as a business, and especially in B2B, and again allowed us to do so in a way without having to bring on a lot of personnel really to help facilitate that. And so DNBI was one of the add-ons that we evaluated early on and saw significant value in their offering. And we've been able to plug in a lot of different things with the NetSuite platform. The ability to do that in a very cost-effective and easy manner has really allowed us to fast-track the implementation of this company. And so we've got SPS for EDI, 8x8 phone systems, which are all cloud-based, Merchant e-Solutions for credit card processing, RF Smart for WMS, and we've got some other bolt-ons. And again, the great thing is all of the implementations that we've really been involved in with these partners have been very easy to do, have not required us to go out and get a bunch of specialized IT help. Now, I always kind of joke around. I go back to my IT closet now, and it basically consists of a bunch of network gear. I do not have a single server in this business and don't foresee needing one, especially not in the near term. And so we are a pure cloud-based business. So It's been a little bit of a transformation from being an on-premise guy, but it's also been a very beneficial transition. Directly related to credit management, again, as a B2B seller, credit management is really key to what we have to do and what we have to have really to be a sustainable business. And so being able to evaluate potential distributor partnerships and those people we want to do business with is very critical to what we do. And so the other piece, as I referenced early on, was the fact that we're pure. And so that's a tenet that we continually like to bring up is we as a pure master or wholesale distributor, we will not compete with our customers for their end user business. And so it's very critical when we start engaging with a business to make sure that these are in fact distributors and not end users. The DNB product helps us do that evaluation and make sure that, yes, that is the type of customer that we're dealing with and we're not dealing with an end user. The end user in our environment is somebody that really the distributor needs to have that relationship because of the type of products that we sell, that distributor adds value by adding knowledge to the sale and being able to help those people in the professional industries especially be more successful at what they do. Some of the benefits with the DNB risk management tool, again, because we're able to evaluate our customers very early on and very quickly, we get a much more complete picture of the customer. So one of the things that we really love about the tool is we're able to put this tool in front of the people that are doing our sales and have the interactions and the relationship with the customers. So I'm sure many of you are aware the whole credit area is extremely sensitive in any type of business relationship. As soon as you tell somebody they're on credit hold or that, hey, we're not going to be able to extend you this much credit, all those types of conversations are very, very emotional. And so being able to have that type of a relation reside with the people that they're actually interacting with on a daily basis is very critical to what we do. And I can tell you, in our previous business, we actually had 2 different departments that kind of handled account setups and credit management. And so what ended up happening in a lot of cases was decisions were made from a credit perspective that were taken completely out of the hands of the sales team who has that relationship with the customer. And basically different credit-related areas such as requests for additional credit, initial credit, all those types of things kind of went into this black hole. And decisions were made, and typically there was a gap, could be anywhere from 2 days to 5 days before the sales team would really know what was going on. With our business and with the ability that the DNB tool provides to us, our sellers basically are able to push a button and interface directly with the DNB tool. We've gone through, we've put in some rules to help establish initial credits, for example, and make credit decisions. And so our sellers have that information directly in front of them really within seconds. And so it's an incredibly powerful enhancement tool for our sales team because they can get information very quickly related to an area that can be extremely sensitive. Additionally, when we look at that credit management tool, there's additional information that's presented to our sellers so that they get a better and more clear picture of who the customer is. So in many cases, they're going to see who the owner is, who the chief officers are, if it's a subsidiary of a different company. All those types of things that you're going to be able to see with the DNB offering are available immediately in front of our sellers. So it's an incredibly effective tool for our sales team, and it's taken out again, a lot of that kind of that middle black hole that I like to call it area that happens when we get into looking at, previous environments that I've had to work in. And so our sales team has really embraced the tool and have utilized it very effectively as we continue to bring on new customers and interacting with our existing customer base. So it's been a huge benefit to us as a startup. And as we started working with the tool, again, the things that we love about both the NetSuite platform and the DNB offering are incredibly easy to work with the tool. Getting the tool set up was as easy as getting the bundle installed, enabling some access and permissions, and then really doing some setups, like I talked about, some rule configurations and doing some training. All of that was really done within a matter of hours, and we were able to get up and running within a few days to, I think it was a week at the outside with the tool. And so incredibly easy to use. At this point, we've been using the tool for, I think, 7 months now, going on 8 months. We have not had to even log a support call related to the tool. It's been a great addition. It's worked flawlessly, incredibly easy to use tool. So, some of the best practice things that we experienced as we were setting it up was just taking a little bit of time to make sure that you understand the credit rules and tables and making sure that you get the rules set up how you want them. Understanding the roles and associated permissions that are needed to set up so that you're able to get the team up and running quickly and they don't hit permission errors and those types of things. And so, again, nothing that takes a tremendous amount of time, but things that if you address them early on, keeps any kind of frustration at the very, very minimum. And then creating a dashboard to show key indicators. And that was a process that we went through with the DNB team, and they helped steer us on some of the things that they've used in the past and some of the best practice related to key indicators and dashboards. So overall, it's been a tremendous experience, and we've been able to very effectively utilize the tool in helping us grow and grow very rapidly. So very positive experience. With that, I will go ahead and turn it back over to Steve.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you so much for sharing that story. I appreciate it. So at this point, we'd like to open the call for any questions, comments, anything like that. You can ask questions in 2 ways. There's a Q&A box in your WebEx screen. You should see it in the top right-hand corner where you can submit a question through the Q&A box. Or you can also use the chat function as well. We'll be monitoring both of those for any questions. Now, while we wait for some of those to come in, I wanted to share an offer with everybody. So if you like what you've heard and you're interested in learning a little bit more about the solution, or you would like to see a demo, you can reach out to me directly at the email address that you see here on the screen. And for the first 50 that come in to attend, we have a very cool gift, a giveaway. We have fabulous prizes to send to you for reaching out and attending the demo. So again, the first 50 folks that reach out to us and actually attend a demo of the solution, if they are interested, we have fabulous prizes, okay? If you have a NetSuite representative that you are currently talking to or working with, you can contact them directly. If you've not been contacted yet by anyone at NetSuite or have a NetSuite representative, please feel free to reach out to me at the email address you see on the screen. So with that, let's take a look and see if we have any questions in the Q&A. All right, so we have one question showing up here, and this would be for Mike at a go now. So the question is, Mike, it seems like you've been up and running on NetSuite for about a year, and you had mentioned you've been using the DNB integration for about 7 months. What do you feel is next for you from either a NetSuite or a DNB standpoint? What's the next functionality or problem that you need to solve?
Yeah, we have an endless line of problems, but which is all part of the fun, you know, with a startup. But you know, I think related directly to the DNB offerings, we are going to look at the data offering next. Again, in my previous experience in the much larger company, one of the things that we did was quite a bit of market analysis using the DNB data, and so we were able to effectively utilize that data, get a market look at really, you know, the specific channels and customers that we needed to target from a marketing perspective and where our areas of opportunity were. And so that'll be one of the next items that we'll be tackling as we continue to grow as a company.
Great, great. I'm currently not seeing any other questions, either in chat or in Q&A. So again, with that, we want to thank all of you for joining us. We hope that you've gotten some value out of the information that Mike was able to provide and how he's using this joint solution. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly at that email address. And we're happy to give you back, looks like 22 minutes of your time, okay? So again, thank you very much, and I hope everybody else has a great afternoon.
Thank you again for joining us today. This does conclude our web conference, and you may now disconnect.